welcome to the Mortgage Coach Tuesday interview. Every Tuesday morning, 9 o'clock Pacific, I am interviewing someone amazing. So we are super grateful for the fact that when you think of the best loan officers in America, 34% are on the Mortgage Coach team. Today, I have two incredible Mortgage Coach professionals, Mr. Bill Gaylord. Bill, if you don't mind turning on your video and joining me here.
Dave, how are we?
What's up, Bill? It's good to see you. Wish I'd seen you in person, but great to see you virtually. And Danny Horanyi. Danny, why don't you turn on your video? Join me. Today, we're going to talk about Realtor Lunch and Learns. I do want to make sure that we announce the winner of the Mortgage Coach video contest, just because that's something that a lot of Mortgage Coach members put a lot of time and energy into. So I am going to let you guys know who the winner is. Also, I interviewed Robert Stover. So Robert Stover is a marketing guru. He's someone that's worked for me for years and helping me perfect marketing here at Mortgage Coach. I just interviewed Robert for 15 minutes, and after this call, you could go onto our YouTube channel and check out the interview I did with Robert Stover, where one, we announced the winner, and two, we provided feedback for the top 6. So out of the dozens of entries that we had, we picked 6 that we thought were like the finalists. He gave feedback for each one of them, what could have been better, but the winner was Mr. Dan Keller. So Dan Keller, if you're watching this, good job, brother. It was not perfect. We had some, feedback that we think would generate more referrals. I do want to remind everybody the purpose of this contest is to help you create videos that create referrals. Whether you're creating it for your database to send to your past customers to get referrals, or whether you're sending it to your realtor database so they call you up saying, hey, I have a first-time home buyer that needs a rent versus own, or hey, I have a move-up buyer that needs a move-up analysis. The whole purpose of the contest is to help you create more compelling videos that generate leads and generate referrals. So, but with that said, I want to get right into the content at hand. I do want to push a quick survey question because I do want to have a feel for how much everybody on this call is doing Realtor Lunch and Learns. So again, how often are you doing one-to-many lunches where you invite a bunch of realtors and you have a lunch and learn? If the answer is never, I don't do them, not even 1 or 2 a year, never. If you do them monthly, let us know. And if you do them, anything more than monthly, several times a year, let us know. So 57% of you have voted. Want to see more votes here? Would love to see 80% of you to vote. So for those of you who haven't voted, the way you get most value in a Mortgage Coach educational experience is you participate. Ask us questions, share takeaways, and vote right now, please. One more second, and the results are in. Bill and Danny, check it out. Does this surprise you at all? That about 8% do it monthly, 35% throughout the year, and almost 60% never do these. Does that surprise you?
For me, it doesn't. Danny, I don't know about you, but it's hard to put these things on sometimes, but they're so good.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, there's a lot of initial setup and activation just to get things rolling. So, not super surprising, but there's a ton of opportunity here, which is really exciting.
Yeah, no doubt. So I want to ask one more question just to set the stage, and that is, how many realtors are you meeting with weekly? So are you meeting with less than 2, 3 to 4, 5 to 7, or more than 11 agents weekly? Please put in your survey. Again, guys, let's get into the meat and the questions. The faster everybody pumps up this vote so that 80% of you have voted, the faster we get into Mr. Bill Gaylord and how he's doing these events. So one more push, guys. All right, so here are the answers. 40% less than 2, 37% 3 to 4, 16% 5 to 7, and that same 7-8% that are doing lunch and learns are touching 11 agents weekly. I'm not going to push another poll question right now, but I'll bet you if I pushed a question right now that asked you how many loans do you close per month, that the same people that said they're meeting with the most realtors would be the same people that are closing the most loans. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think maybe?
I think I mean, that's one of the cool parts of our business, Dave, is that it's very causal, right? If you do the activities, the leading indicator activities that drive results, you can expect those results to come, which is really hopeful, right? If you just get past whatever your hang up is that's preventing you from getting out to those 11 plus people, your business will grow, and it's completely an X to Y sort of event, which is very cool.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, let's get into the conversation at hand. Bill, I'm going to start off with just asking you a few questions. Then I'm going to share your desktop, and you're going to do a bit of a site. It's almost like we're doing an on-site visit with you on what you do and how you do it. But if you could just start with telling a little bit about. What's that?
No, I was going to say we'll be completely transparent and show you the back end and what we're doing, and it'll be fun.
All right. So tell us a little bit about you and your production, and then let's get into why you do these events and how.
Yeah, so very, very fortunate. I got great partners. I got Danny Horanyi and Sam Hansen. We have the Gaylord Hansen Team. I've been in the real estate business for over 30 years. First 7 years, I was a commercial real estate appraiser. And then I got into mortgage. I've been in mortgage for about 24 years. And I got in, I was making lunch one day, and I look out the window, and I see this guy coming out the door, and he had his tennis bag with him. And I said, when I grow up, I want to be like him. And asked him what he did. He was in the mortgage brokerage business. And I said, okay, let's go. But I haven't got my tennis bag anymore. I work a lot, but it's been a lot of fun. And the Lunch and Learn, just kind of piggyback off of how many realtors you meet with. These things are so great at getting in front of realtors and then doing the follow-up. And it's such a great way to get in front of realtors.
How many loans a month or a year, or however you guys measure it, are you on track for, and what do you think you'll end up the year with?
Yeah, so this year we'll end up probably just over 800 loans and about 400 million in loan volume.
So that's an uncomprehendable amount of volume for most people on this call. 70% of the loan officers are struggling to close, 5 loans a month and $1 million. So when we have this conversation, let's kind of break it down. That hey, you're an individual loan officer without a team, closing less than 5 loans. Let's break that down. And you're 5 to 7, and you want to go to top producer status. Let's cover it for everybody. So let's start with why Realtor Lunch and Learns. Why do you do these events?
Well, for us, it was so we started this about 3 years ago. We started in September of 2014, and you're always trying to figure out how do you get that differentiator? What's going to make you different? And it's really trying to become the expert. And we just said, you know what? In order to become the expert, we have to get out in front of people. We have to educate. So the 3 tenets of our business are educate, communicate, and execute. So those are the 3 things. And we started it, and it was like, okay, let's do a lunch and learn. We have no idea what the heck we're doing, but let's go out and try this out. And so we've definitely done over 40 lunch and learns, or 40 what we call BBMs. We wanted to have a cool title, and instead of a lunch and learn, we call it a BBM, which is Building Business Monthly. And we wanted to kind of create something that was consistent over time. So that's why we put the word monthly in there. And so Building Business Monthly, our goal is really to help realtors grow their business and educate them on how to grow their business.
Well, I want to make sure everybody gets the takeaway, especially for folks that, let's just say you're closing less than 8 loans a month. They've got really clear values, communication, which we know is cornerstone to success, education, which we know is cornerstone to differentiation and value, and execution. So you've got values that drive this strategy. Love that. Also, I love the fact that you didn't just call them lunch and learns. Like, what are they? It's a result. You want more business? You want to develop business? Come monthly. So I think that's brilliant. If you're on this call and you are doing lunch and learns, we've got a great community here at MortgageCoach. If you would share in questions, what do you call? And if at the next break, I'll read off some of the things that other MortgageCoach loan officers, how are you positioning these in the marketplace of value. And one last thought before I hand it off to you. I watched a video from one of our Mortgage Coach members, and Robert Ring, and he played an excerpt from Josh Meadows, the interview that I did with Josh. And I find this is a common theme among top producers. You are so dedicated, so focused at being perceived as an authoritative figure in your market. You're branding yourself, you're marketing yourself. So anybody who's listening to this, if you want education to be one of your differentiators, 2, you want to be perceived as an authoritative figure, I think you have to do this. You have to lead, you have to get out there and get in front of folks. So Bill, before I hand off the desktop and you just start showing how you do them, could you give us a feel for the type of results that you give? You know, like how do you guys look at ROI, and how do you say, hey, we should keep doing this, or we should fine tune this? How do you guys look at that?
Yeah, I mean, it's an always evolving thing, and you know, there's a lot of trial and error. There's a lot of moving parts to it. What I can tell you is that if we just look simply at the dollars that we've spent on the lunch and learns, BBMs, and going out in the marketplace, and the dollar volume that we've gone from, which was about a little over 100 million back in 2014 to over 400 million the last 2 years, the return on investment has been huge. So we've put a lot of money, a lot of energy, a lot of effort into these things, and I want to say it is a process. We are probably ahead of the curve for most people, but at the same time, we feel like we can completely make this thing better and better and better and get more and more dialed in. And we are every single day. We've got great people, and it's been just a lot of fun. So I'm going to show my screen there.
Good. So I'm gonna let you share the screen, and just to position this for everyone, Bill prepared for the Mortgage Coach community to tell you why he did it, how he does it, and he's put some slides together. And I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen and just let you take the stage solo. You know, give me a chance to give feedback here and now. And Danny, feel free to jump in anytime. Just turn on your video if you want to add some color to anything Bill says. And then one last reminder, guys, this is a mastermind. So if you have questions for Bill, jump in. Either raise your hand and go to webinar or post your question. So with that said, Bill, why don't you walk us through these slides and tell us how you do it?
Okay, so I'll go through it and all. And again, I want to go back to, you know, the decision to go and do these lunch and learns. You know, it's like, do you really want to get up in front of people and speak and educate and all that kind of stuff? You know, it's like, oh man, that was like the last class I took in college was getting up in front of people and speaking. And it gets easier and easier and easier the more you get up and the more you do it. But if you don't do it, you're just not going to have the results. So I'm not a natural speaker. I would honestly say Dave's probably not a natural speaker, but you just have to go out and do it. And once you get up and you start doing it, it really becomes empowering, and people respect that. Dave.
Wait a minute. I'm not a natural speaker.
Well, you know, honestly, Dave, I am going to say I think you power through it. I think that you just go for it because you just don't know any better, right? You're not, you know, you're not this smooth operator or anything like that. You're just like down and dirty, and you get it done. So that's
He'll be full of compliments all day, Dave. Don't worry. He's got a bunch more.
I know. Well, hey, I wanted to time out on that because I think it's so important. And I had a mentor early in my career in my 20s that was just super wise man, not well-spoken. You know, I mean, he was not a on-stage kind of guy. But, you know, he taught me a couple things. One, that the best salespeople are the best teachers. So that was super clear. And then he taught me the importance of just authenticity and how authenticity beats professionalism. And so for everybody on this call, if you don't think you're a great speaker, by the way, you're probably not. I don't think I'm a great speaker. I'm not a professional speaker. I say a lot. I say a lot. I know a lot of people that can have a better control of English language, that are more dynamic on stage, but I am authentic. And I am so well read that I feel confident about what I'm confident about. And so, you know, I just throw that out to everybody. 90% of you are not great professional speakers, but so many of you, especially if you're giving every family a total cost analysis, you are an expert in helping families build wealth with real estate. And by the way, if you don't believe that, well, that's a whole nother problem, and we got to go fix that. You know, because if you don't believe that I am an expert in helping families build wealth with real estate through intelligent mortgage decisions and management, well, then we got to go fix that before you get on stage. But authenticity beats professionalism, and I just wanted to call that out, and also tease you for saying that I'm not a professional speaker. What's up with that?
Dave, it was a pure compliment. I think authenticity helps, and there's not natural speaking ability in my family. My brother, when he went up to do a speech, he actually put tampons underneath his armpit so that he wouldn't show the sweat. So it's one of those things that once you do it and you keep doing it over and over, and the best thing is with these lunch and learns is, you know, particularly in the beginning, select something that you're really knowledgeable about, as kind of Dave was saying. If you know what you're talking about, it makes it so much easier to get your point across, to get it through. So I'm just going to kind of go through some of the stuff that we do. Would love to have questions to make sure that I'm covering what you all want to know. But I want to show you just a quick video of just a little bit of a sample of what we do in regards to the our lunch and learns. This was a video that we put together kind of one of our events that we can send out to potential realtors that would come to our event. So here's just a simple video. It's about a minute long, and hopefully it'll go through quick. We set it up at a small little golf resort. Let's get started. Here's get really excited about today. So thank you. So that was just a quick video. You can see we live in San Diego, so we have the ocean, and it's a great place to live. And one of the things that we do is it's really nice to have a partner, in my opinion, up in front of the stage where you can kind of yin and yang with it. And if something kind of goes awry, the other person can step in and kind of recover them. So if you are not as natural at speaking, I would get a partner that can help you. And what it's worked out really well, because Danny's in there all the time. We'll get into kind of the section that he does. But now, you know, if I'm gone, we're dividing and conquering. We're going there. Sam's gone. Danny's in there. We're now bringing in some of our teammates to deliver. Actually, next month, we're not all three of us are going to be out of town. So our team is going to deliver the Lunch and Learn, the BBM, next month. So use a partner, and that typically helps. So there's that. I want to go through the way we market it is through MailChimp, and we try and come up with themes that are going to really help people kind of grab their attention and let them come. And over the years, I'll get into a little bit over it, but you know, we have a great database of realtors that we've worked with over the years. So we've got in our BBM database, we've got all the buying agents that we've worked with over the last 10 years. We've got all the listing agents that we've worked with over the last 10 years. And you're always constantly, you know, updating it and all that. Right now, our BBM list is about, I think it's over 1,000. It's like 1,050. And we could expand it to a different market and just kind of throw everybody in there. But we really want to try and dial in the people that we've worked with in the past, and I think we can get plenty of business. We get a lot of great response. This is just an example of one of the BBMs that we send out on a MailChimp. I'll show you MailChimp here in a minute. This is kind of the message for that MailChimp, dominated by the big banks. Doesn't fit into the perfect little box. I see Dave jumping in. Anything you want to say there, Dave?
Yeah, I wanted to just ask everybody on the call, how many realtors do you have in your database? If you were to put on an event like this, I'd like to get a feel for how many people do you feel like you could invite through a combination of email, you've got their mobile number, so that you can communicate and drive them to a meeting. So if you could, in the question section, please let us know. Also, I want to honor the people that did respond last time around. I see John is calling his events Lunch and Earn. Like it, John.
I like that.
I like that. We've got one called Business Breakthrough Breakfast. Scott Cummings has been doing that for 20 years. Business Breakthrough Breakfast. Gotta love that. Anyways, there's some others. So far, I'm seeing 250 agents, 100, 400, 200, 300, 25, 15, 40 to 50, 100, 300, 350, 400, 500, 80 to 100, 100, 150. So we're kind of all over the place. I mean, it does look like the majority are under 300, let's say. And then there's a pretty good number that are under 100 agents that you would have in your database to invite. So FYI, thank you guys for participating, and Bill, back to you.
Yeah, and I would bet that there's probably more agents that you have that you've been on a transaction with. Every purchase loan that you have, there's 2 realtors, and certainly those 2, we call it captive audience marketing. We've got 30 days to really try and impress them. That's a whole different topic, but 30 days to impress them, and we really try and focus on that. But those agents automatically go into our BBM list and make it happen. And as an example, this is one that we just did in September, and we brought in Brian Berggens, who's our National Director of Military and VA Lending, for us. Great speaker, lots of fun, high energy. We were so busy actually developing another workshop that we're working on. It's a VA workshop, that we were just slammed with not being able to really make a lot of calls. So we sent out the email to our database, and we ended up having 47 realtors without making one call. And it's just because of the consistency, month after month after month after month. I will say, as I get in here later, that the best way to get the people there is not really the email, but getting on the phone. And so we'll talk about that. But that's, that was the VA home buyer. So having a guest, you want to, I think, mix it up a little bit to where you're speaking so that you can become that expert and you know what you're talking about and really dial in your expertise, and whether it's VA loans or FHA loans or first-time home buyers or construction or CPL products or CPL portfolio type products, whatever that is, do that first and let people know what you're an expert at. Then if you need other topics, and I got a whole slew of topics that you can take a look at, and we'll share this with you. Happy to send it out to Dave and give you what we have and let you know that. But having a speaker is always very good, because again, it kind of gives you the yin and the yang, and you bring in an expert, and that expert feels very good about coming in, but also it just helps you look like you're a connector, as Dave is, because Dave is probably one of the best connectors I know. So Dave, jump in.
Yeah, so people are asking, these slides will be made available, so we will put these in, like if you're watching the video, there'll be a link down below, so there'll be a link to these slides. People are asking for them. Also, I want to make sure people really heard it, and I want to know how many calls you can make, because let's face it, it's not like you send out a pretty email and people just sign up. I'm coming. No, you guys are, how long are you marketing it? How many calls in text do you think you and your team are needing to do to get someone to actually come to your event? Forget about email, outside of email, what's going on?
Yeah, I would say in the beginning, so prior to getting the, basically the consistency of it, we started marketing it the Monday before the following Thursday. So about a week and a half before the event. And then we start calling. And the great thing about these lunch and learns, right, is it gives you an excuse to call the realtor. It allows you to give them a call and say, hey, look, I want to make sure you got the email, and we'd love to have you. We've got a great topic today, Brian Bergens. He's an amazing expert on the VA loans, and he will absolutely give you such insight into how to get into the VA market, where you live. He's awesome. And so it gives you an excuse to actually call the realtors, because I think calling realtors, people just hate to pick up the phone and call because they don't have something to talk to them about. Well, what do I talk to them about today? But these lunch and learns give you something to talk about. So then we'll make calls, usually Tuesday, Wednesday, as many as we can. Make a call. We'll shoot a text out. Kind of doing the same thing. If we get a voicemail, you can do co-videos. A lot of this stuff will be in the slides, but we'll probably make, I would say between all of us, probably about 150 to 200 calls to agents. And again, this past one right here, unfortunately, we were all booked in other directions, and the ability to make calls was not there. I was out of town. Danny was somewhere. I can't remember what happened, but it happened. But that was because of the consistency over time and the audience that you get.
Got it. So email, lots of calls, lots of texts. And by the way, for the agents that you think it's really on point for and you really want to come, you could create just a video and text it to them. Or you could do, Facebook Messenger. But the email is only a piece of the puzzle. You got to own putting butts in seats. And so many of the questions are coming in, like how do you get people to show up? And I know you have more slides. Danny, did you have something to comment on?
Yeah, I wanted to just, you just touched on it, Dave, that the email is just one component of the overall strategy to get butts in seats. The consistency is probably the number one thing, right? And adding value in each of the lunch and learns and the Building Business Monthlies. If people come and their expectations are met or exceeded, they want to come back, right? So then it doesn't take quite as much energy to get those people in. But the other thing that I want to add into this is that the lunch and learn process is part of the overall marketing strategy. It's not, we're not doing just that. We're doing many other things, including the captive audience marketing. So when it comes to making calls on that Monday or that Tuesday, Wednesday, what Bill's team will do from the marketing side is they'll print out a little piece of paper that says, oh, by the way, and it'll have the script of inviting the agent to the lunch and learn, and they'll actually put that on every team member's desk so that if they're engaging with an agent, they'll be able to say, before the call ends, they'll say, oh, by the way, have you heard about our XYZ Building Business Monthly that's coming up next Thursday or this coming Thursday? And then everybody, we're kind of using all of our weapons to make sure that the word is getting out. And then there's so much synergy that comes from this. What that also does, let's say it's one of our personal loan managers that's making that invite, it starts reinforcing their position as a salesperson, right? They're now making asks of our referral partners, and so it's kind of building that muscle for them and identifying them as salespeople so that we then have that skill set growing in that part of our business, so that it adds kind of more fuel to our fire. So there's so many powerful things that come off of just having something to talk about, as Bill said. It's very, very powerful.
Yeah, no doubt. And let's face it, leaders are learners. So you guys are, in order to be leaders, you're having to learn, and you're becoming even more powerful. So I mean, not only you touching a lot of realtors, creating a lot of impact, it's making you better in the process. Bill, a question came in. How many folks are typically showing up for these lunch and learns?
So we've done a bunch of them, and we've had a couple of special lunch and learns where we had good guests and all that. We've had, I'd say the majority of our lunch and learns are probably around 40 to 60 agents that come. We've had some as high as 195, and we've had some as low as 12 or 15. So it just, topic many times plays a role, and you kind of learn what a good topic is and what isn't a good topic. I'll get this big butt off the screen for you guys. I know that's a very attractive one. but I'll just kind of go through. So that was one that we had there. So I'd say 40, 40 to 60.
Okay, good. And remember, guys, this is a very big team, lots of people, lots of resources. And if you're an individual loan officer and you're closing $10 million a year, you can do this. It would be a different scale, but you can still execute a lunch and learn where you're masterminding with top realtors. I did a call with Rick Shear, big producer in the Boston market, around realtor masterminds. I'm going to put a link to that below, so if you're watching the record, check that out. And just how to. And the thing about a mastermind is you don't necessarily need to be the leader of pushing an agenda. You can just, hey, I'm going to get the right 10 realtors in a room and mastermind. But what I hope no one gets off this call thinking, I just can't do this. I can't put events where I put realtors together so that I'm an authoritative leader in my marketplace. I hope that between what Bill provides, and he's got a lot more to go, and then watch that mastermind call, that MortgageCoach loan officers will be leaders in the marketplace, meeting with 6 or more realtors a week, and really 10 or more realtors a week. And I don't care if you're an individual LO with an assistant, you can do more than 2 or 3. All right, Bill, back to you.
Dave, I want to kind of make a point on that. Sometimes it's not how many you have. It's really the good connections that you make. And I would say that sometimes ours are just too big because we just can't get around to all of them, and the follow-up on them is very hard. The nice thing that we have is that we do have our team members, many of our team members come, and so we're able to kind of, at least spread out throughout the crowd and try and touch the realtors. But, Danny can't talk to them all, I can't talk to them all, Sam can't talk to them all. So it's really a group effort, and I would say if you can get anywhere from 8 to 12 at a lunch and learn, I think that's a huge success, and it would be a good one to have. We just do it a little bit more just because we've had a little bit longer time and have grown the team. But starting out, you don't have to have it as big, and sometimes big is not better. Here's just some other examples of what we've done. We did a renovation financing one a couple of months ago, and that was very well received. There's some dog listings out there, so a lot of those dog listings are being scooped up by investors. Why not provide them with renovation financing to actually come in and buy a dog and make it the way they want? This one was actually probably the best one, and this was really generated by Danny. I'll call him Danielson, who basically said, God, I get asked this all the time. Should I buy now? Should I wait? Should I do this? Should I do that? So we created this Are We in a Bubble? And this was a really good one where we probably did this particular lunch and learn, I think probably 5 or 6 different times, and it's still very relevant to what we're doing. So that one was good when we've got a whole presentation as to what we say we are not in a bubble. And we go through and detail the 5 points that why we are not in a bubble, and that's been a great recycling one. So we did our original BBM, we then did 2 or 3 in other parts, and we actually took it to a different state as well. So that Are We in a Bubble one was a very good topic. Here's one, Mortgage 101. That's a very simple one, and it's really trying to be relevant to what the agents know, not going into the details of what you know, but why do the agents need to know what they know. And this is kind of why you need to tell the agent, what the top listing agents ask for accepting a finance offer, how to know a finance offer is legitimate. So these things are just trying to really entice them to go. Fortunately, we've had pretty good success. We've had some, we've had a couple of topics that haven't been great, but we get through them and we go next and we start over. The other thing I just threw in here too is we do our BBM on the second Thursday of every month. Provide the consistency, provide the venue, make sure that it's there every single time so that the agents can get used to it. And then we also do a happy hour on the fourth Thursday of every month. And what it does is we rotate that around San Diego just to try and include other realtors throughout San Diego because we cover the whole market. But this also allows us to make more phone calls, which is what it's all about, to say, hey, we'd love to have you at our happy hour. I hope the transaction on the Smith file went great. And oh, this is the other thing I want to tell you on this one, is that we invite our past 3 months past customers to this, and then call the agents that worked with those customers and say, hey, just wanted to let you know we invited the Smiths to our happy hour. It'd be great for you to connect with them again and be a good contact point for you. So it gives us another excuse to call a realtor, which is, you know, and I think a lot of it is like, what can you say to a realtor? So that's been helpful for us, the happy hours and BBMs are the ones that allow us to really get in front of the agents. So we use MailChimp. This is just, you know, our Building Business Monthly list. This is our event reminder list. When we got, and this increased because of the agents that we were working with that got added prior to this reminder going out. And then we track all of the BBM attendees, and we send the slides out to them after the BBM so that they can have it. We use Eventbrite as kind of the registration that they can go on to. We actually put them in Eventbrite, and it keeps a list for us, and that's worked out really well for us. One of the things that we've done, we just hired the most amazing woman who is a USC grad in marketing, Lindsay. We can't thank her enough, but she came in with a lot of Salesforce where she knows how to do the backside. And Salesforce has been with us for 8 years, and we've had a consultant that has helped us throughout. But Lindsay has come in and created some marketing stuff for us. So we have a whole thing on marketing events and how we start them and what we do, the status of them, what the topic is, and the projected attendance, what the actual attendance was. And this one, we actually had the same amount as the projected, because you always are going to have fallout. But we call and confirm to have them come. But this one, actually, we had 5 that didn't come, but then we had 5 that didn't RSVP and came. So we ended up having 47. And then we have our team members come. And so on this particular one, we had 68 that were there in attendance. This kind of goes through our expenses. This is a new thing for us. This is where, again, this has been an evolution over 4 years. And Danny, this is like music to Danny's ears, because he's like, well, we got to track and we got to know all this. And so we're knowing all this, and we know how much it costs per person. And in my opinion, the total cost for this particular event was less than $2,000. And what ends up happening is, if we can't get one loan out of 47 people, 47 realtors to pay for this, then we suck. But I know that we're going to get a lot more deals out of this than the investment that we made into the BBM. And we do it right. We want to make sure that the event, the venue is good, the food is good. We do customized, branded menus, so when they get there, the menus are on in front of them, and it's branded with Gaylord Hansen, says what they're going to eat and what's there, and we really want to do it right. Then what we do is we have kind of a checklist. This is going to be kind of a slide down. I can show it to you in real time with Salesforce, but this shows what the different tasks need to happen in order to get the event kicked off. So certainly we start with Facebook. This is at the end here. Upload the final cost. Here's the other tasks that are going on throughout. Email reminder. We've got Julie, who's got some special people that come in. Rent the large screen, camera, flowers, for the front desk so that it looks nice when it comes in. The guest list. We send the guest list to our teammates to let them know who's attending, so that they can go, oh, I know them. That's a new person. I want to go. I want to meet them. Make sure that we have the presentation done. We have signage there. We bring in a step and repeat, which is a big thing that has our charity on there, the Gaylord Hansen Gaylord Hansen Shoes logo, Caliber, and Gaylord Hansen. And we take pictures. We put spotlights up there. We want to make sure that this is an event, so that when they come, they're like, oh, this is really cool. I want to come again. And that's what we're trying to do, as Danny had indicated earlier. We want them to come back over and over again, provided they're doing business. And we have had to weed people out at times where they haven't sent us anything, or they don't do any business at all, and they have gone off the list. But we make sure that we have that. We email a Survey Monkey out after every event, make sure that we're on point and doing a good job. We also will ask them what would be potential topics to go through. We've got all this. So this is kind of all the thing. The other thing that I want to point out is that if nothing else, bring a speaker and play upbeat music. I play dance pop music, and I kind of crank it up before the event, and it's just my small little Bose speaker, and I crank it up, and then after the event, I turn it back on. So music actually is extremely important. It just kind of creates a vibe, and it makes people fun, and music is kind of uplifting. So that's a big one. I absolutely would recommend you put some music in there. Here's some more stuff that checklists, and this will all go out to you. Dave, back to you.
So everybody's asking questions. These slides are available. So when you're go to our YouTube channel every Tuesday. Recordings are posted into our YouTube channel, and links to the slides and also other conversations and recordings, they're down below. Hopefully you're getting value from this, so also like it. You're watching this on YouTube, give us a like, let us know that you got value from this, and share this to other loan officers on your team or loan officers that you just care about their success. So let's talk a little bit about how you guys integrate the total cost analysis into your realtor experience and your realtor lunch and learns. And Bill, I don't know if you want to do that, you want to have Danny do that, but if you could just give us a feel for where does the TCA come in and how does it come in?
Let me just, I'm going to let Danny do that, but let me just run through real quick kind of the format, what we do, and then we'll get to that cost analysis in like less than a minute. But I want to just kind of show what we do and then show how we transition into that total cost analysis, because it's powerful and the agents love it. So if we have here, this is just a couple of things, text, follow-up, that co-video, but the BBM format, we talk about purpose of the building.
Go back to the text. I want to make sure everybody gets to see the text. Okay, guys, so there you can see what they're doing, how they're saying it. And again, I would tell you, again, this is a great text. You send an email, you send a text, and then sometimes it's the little text in between. And for that, top agents that you really want them to be there, just a little, hey, I can't wait to see you today at noon, So I just think that's important. Anyways, go to the other stuff, Bill. I want to make sure we call that out.
You've got co-videos, so you can send those co-videos out, little video text if you want. Then the format we start with is really just talking about the purpose of the BBM and why we're there and helping them grow their business, show a little bit about who we are and what we do and why we are good at what we do. We talk about promoting our next event that is coming up, and then future events. This was a special event that we had. That was the one that we had about 195 attendees. At the very beginning of the BBM, we do a market update, and this is Danny's session because Danny is a confessed nerd, and he had LASIK, so his glasses now are gone. So he's not quite as nerdy as he used to be, but he goes through the nerd out session, and we call him Gigabyte because he has brains coming out of his ears. So then he kind of goes through what's the market doing, what's happening, relevant information, interest rates, what happened when interest rates shot up, we still had appreciation. Then we go through, this was how to write the winning offer, what listing agents should know. We talk about just various things that go here, due diligence for the seller. So this is just an example of what we present at the BBM. This is actually presenting an offer. They submitted this letter to get an offer accepted the cat was talking to the other cat of the seller. Stupid stuff. People have created websites to say who I am from the buyer standpoint. So this is basically it. So then we get into the psychology of winning the offer, and then we come down here and round 2, the counter offer, and this is where it becomes extremely powerful with Danny coming in and doing the cost of waiting analysis and then the other one. So Danny, do you want to jump in here and talk about this?
Danny, you're on mute.
Good catch there, Dave. So just to kind of zoom this out a little bit to make it less niche and really kind of broaden it out for how the total cost analysis integrates into a Lunch and Learn, and the why behind that is that the Lunch and Learn needs to be oriented towards the agents, right? It has to be a value add to them. And what that looks like is, if it's relevant to their client, it's probably going to be relevant to the agent and responding to some pain point that they're feeling in the marketplace. So either in some cases we'll actually integrate that pain point and solution into the presentation itself. Other times we'll just toss a total cost analysis into the nerd out session and say, hey, our topic is about creating raving fans, but just had a really cool conversation with the client that we just want to do a little tangent and share with you how we solutioned through their concern using a total cost analysis. So when it comes to educate, communicate, execute, the total cost analysis really responds to all 3 of those pillars, those foundational things that our team operates off of. So in this particular presentation, how to write the winning offer, we were responding to the pain point of there being limited inventory in the marketplace, and that the clients really needing to be educated about how they can position themselves to be the strongest possible offer amongst many multiple offers. And then we said, well, okay, you just beat out 7 offers, but what probably happened? The seller didn't just wholesale accept that one top offer. What they probably did was they countered the top 3 offers with different or new terms. And there have been times, let's say the person's early on in their shopping, they haven't lost a bunch of houses yet, they might have an emotional reaction to that event where the seller just countered them back with a higher price than they initially offered. And so we put together, and we've shared versions of this several times before with the Mortgage Coach community, how you can then take the current state, like Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Yes, I understand that, in this particular example, the seller countered from 400 to 415. Yeah, we absolutely understand that 415 is a higher price, and at today's interest rates, that increases your monthly payment by, in this case, $76 a month. But let's say you say no, right? And you move yourself into the future state where you're now shopping in the market 2 months from now or 3 months from now. Well, in this example, we've said, well, let's look at some of the predictions. Well, we know that the market's been increasing by about 6% per year. So that means in 2 months, we'll probably be about 1% higher. And it's not actually linear, depending on the month of the year that you might be able to kind of move that to something that makes sense, right? You're not trying to exaggerate it, but make a logical assumption of where the market might be then. And then you predict out where interest rates might be based on the, predictions from people like Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, Mortgage Bankers Association. There's data that you can actually pull down. You don't have to pull out your own crystal ball. There's companies spending millions of dollars to make these predictions on our behalf within the industry. And then you say, well, let's merge this together and say your future state is you're at 1 or 2% higher in the market, because that's just naturally how we've appreciated, and rates have gone up either 1/4 or 3/8%, which is the prediction. Well, here's what that would do for your monthly payment. So rejecting this counteroffer, if you make that move, here's what that would actually mean for you in the future, assuming these things play out. And it's a very, what the total cost analysis does, and it's an awesome thing, is that it takes a very complex idea and it breaks it down to the fundamental components that are meaningful to the consumer of that information, who's either the agent, who's part of your triangle of trust, or the consumer themselves who has to make that final decision for their family. So this is one example. Another one that we share very often in our Lunch and Learns is our rent versus own analysis. We've shared the move up analysis, that concept. We've extrapolated out the the counteroffer analysis to the more basic cost of waiting analysis. What's really common in our market right now is what we're calling buyer fatigue, where the client they've just been beat too many times. They've got emotionally attached to a home, and they're on their 5th or 6th offer that didn't get accepted because there was so much competition, and they just want to throw in the towel. And so we can bring things like the cost of waiting analysis, the rent versus own analysis, and say, this is the why you were in the market in the first place is because the future state, that transformation that you'll achieve by being a homeowner, is so much greater than being a renter, which is their current state, or living in your 2-bedroom condo versus the 3 to 4 bedroom single family home that you are dreaming of, and that your family really has grown to need. Those future states are worth it, and we need to stay on the horse, and the total cost analysis can help us keep that engagement. And this really resonates with realtors because they see this tactical way that we can bring the information to their client and keep them in the game. And we have this one-to-many format where we can expose that information to 60 or 40 to 60 on average realtors that then can bring that messaging back to their clients to actually create action and transactions.
Love that. I like that new term, action and transactions. Love it, Danny. So I wanted to showcase a few things so people can really connect the dots on this. One, as I told you, this video will be added to our YouTube channel within a few hours. Danny, I did an interview several years ago with Danny, and I think Sam might have been on that too. And it's it was so powerful that the whole interview is available. I think it's called 5 strategies to create to become the primary lender. But we also had them edited. So this counter offer analysis, there's a 6-minute video in the playlist called 5 Realtor Strategies to Maximize Referrals. Also, I want to throw out there that this referral magnet contest that we're doing, almost every one of these videos, they're designed to be standalone stories that align to how a total cost analysis helped a family or an agent with a call to action. If you really think about it, each one of these videos, while they're 2 to 3 minutes, they could be 5 minutes of a lunch and learn. They could be 2 to 5 minutes that you get up in front of a group of realtors, tell a story, chain it to a total cost analysis, and then say, hey, realtor, call me for a rent versus own analysis. Or they could be part of a mastermind. And then again, each one of these can be part of your one-on-one meetings with agents so that you're story selling. You're telling stories, you're explaining strategies, and then you're leaving them with, call me or email your client to me for this strategy. So I wanted to connect the dots on all that. And then Bill, if you could jump back on the screen real quick. We're the last 7 minutes. And Danny, if you could be on here too. Let's just for the last 5 minutes kind of mastermind a little bit. Again, the reason I do these is to help
Dave?
access to this content, and you have access to these tools, and you're able to deliver a better experience. So Danny, anything you want to, or excuse me, Bill, anything you want to add to that, and then I'm going to pepper you guys with some questions.
You cut out on there for a minute, so I don't really know what you said. I just think that if you get in front of the people, you're going to have the ability to become the expert in the marketplace, and you just have to do it. You just have to decide to do it, put a date down, start doing it, and start marketing it, send the email, and then you have to get it done.
Right on. Do these calls to motivate our community to use Mortgage Coach more often, use it with their buyers, use it at events. If someone was doing less than 5 loans a month, $100 million a year, and they weren't using a total cost analysis at the point of sale, how much do you think it would improve their conversion and their production? What are your thoughts?
That's to me, correct?
Yeah, Bill.
In my opinion, the Mortgage Coach will increase your business by 75%. I really believe that. It's such a differentiator, such a game changer. I mean, it really elevates you to the next level to be able to really just, it's so funny to hear the people that we on our team go, oh, I just won this one because of Mortgage Coach. Oh, this one, oh my God, the other guys look like amateurs. And so it's just so important, I think, to utilize that tool because it's, I mean, it's huge for us. We do at least 95% of our transactions have a mortgage coach, and the others that don't are just automatically coming on board just because of a referral.
I actually don't know who those 5% are who are not receiving it actually. So I mean, for at least per our process, right? It's 100% of people are receiving total cost analyses, and you know, you can see in our activity that, you know, I believe we're up to, you know, as a team, you know, we're over the 2,000 mark in terms of TCAs produced, and that's, you know, we're adding about probably about 8 a day that we're producing on average, just because we're getting about 8 leads a day, which then, you know, we translate that into, and each of those 8 leads is receiving the total cost analysis at multiple points throughout the transaction. And I would actually say, I mean, 75% is the initial push, but there's a multiplication effect that comes from using the total cost analysis. It starts to compound. It's almost an exponential thing, because you end up with a couple of synergistic things that happen when you're using a total cost analysis instead of whatever your previous, you know, point of sale education event is. One is that it makes more sense. The clients are more likely to act. A confused mind does not act, right? So the more clarity they have around what their options are, the more confident they will be in their decision making. So they'll make more decisions, and they'll make faster decisions, which means you have less time in the sales cycle. You'll also find that you're getting the topics brought back to you less often, because the total cost analysis is shareable. So when, you know, Uncle Jimmy wants to ask about what they're getting into, they can forward in the TCA link with your video instead of you jumping on a 30-minute call with Uncle Jimmy. So you start to get time back that way. And then also you're converting faster and better because you're differentiating yourself from the competition. Well, you know, one of the things that we hear consistently from those clients that come to us in a shopping process, there's a lot of people that are shopping their mortgage these days, and we'll come in, you know, second, or even if we're first, and then they go and look at somebody else, they'll come back and say, hey, the other guy didn't do any of the things that you did. You really set yourself apart in your professionalism because of how the total cost analysis really represents us as experts, as innovators. It's mobile. It's responding to some of the, you know, assumed needs that consumers have today, that they're able to access this information at any time. So you start to add that all up, and you're not only getting more engaged clients that are acting faster, more confidently, but you have more time to do the things that are income producing activities for you, because you're not getting tied up back into the sales cycle again. So if you're, over time, if you're not seeing more than a 75% increase in your business because of that leverage, I would be super surprised if you're consistently using it.
Yeah, and the other thing that just can't be overrated is the confidence that you get. You know, when you are truly serving a client, asking great questions, delivering a great presentation, you're more confident. You're more confident in the way you show up for the family. You're more confident in the way that you show up for an agent. And then if you become gigabyte and you really gain expert knowledge, you know, you're unstoppable. So hey guys, really appreciate it.
I'm thinking about changing his name to Terabyte.
Yeah, oh, there you go. There you go. We got to upgrade that. Let us know what you thought of today's call. You know, did we wow you, surpass expectations, get some takeaways? If you are a guest on this call and you want to get a demo of Mortgage Coach, click the last option. Bill, you were fantastic. You know, so transparent. Thanks for the slides. Again, if you're watching this on video, the slides are down below. There'll be a link to that, plus samples of some of the total cost analysis that Danny covered. Guys, thanks for your time. Super grateful, and have a fantastic day. And this call is a wrap. See you, Danny.
Thanks. Thank you. You did a great job.
Yeah. And by the way, Josh Metal sent a text at the beginning saying, "My whole team is watching. You guys better crush it." So pressure's on.
And shout out, Josh.
Shout out to the Josh Metal team. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, Josh.